Rooster's not here yet. He's grilling a cheeseburger, which is ironic. So he'll join us in a minute. Like a spooky ghost. What is the hip hop happening, folks? Don't ask me because I don't know. Donnie's early as usual, here to do the thing. And he wants to know who has the coffee. I'm assuming that he does. Here's my current situation. I did finish my cheeseburger. Yeah, Bob, my wife has a chicken and duck farm, and I get to help with it a lot. Man, I see just way too much scalp today. I need to figure this out. This is a problem. Maybe I should dye my scalp. That would fix the problem. Don, you can save your high for Rooster when he gets here. We already tested it out on here and everything, and then he went out and started weed whacking and then grilling a cheeseburger. And basically, in true Dead Dodge Garage fashion, he's right on time as usual. Corn dog necklace. So my good friend Donnie found this on the internet and had to send it my way. It was too late for last week's stream, but it's here now. So I'm going to put this in the window. There actually appear to be two of them in here, one with ketchup and one without ketchup. So now I got to decide what two cars I'm going to put them in. What up, homie? Hey, Rich. Oh, I did that wrong. How you doing? In case see 33 of you out there, thanks for being here. You probably read that Rooster's supposed to join us, but he is too busy grilling a cheeseburger, so he'll be here shortly. I figured I'd just hop on and say hi. So, hi. Bob says, woot, woot, it's Sunday fun time. First Responder Garage is here with us and gives us a fire truck and a thumbs up. Thank you very much for being here. Curly Joe Robbie's also with us and says, I just enjoyed Cajun red rice and beans with my precious Miss Sweet Tea, a Jackawawa? Jack Russell Chihuahua, I'm assuming. And Curly Joe, are you the one that's been commenting on a bunch of my videos today? I think that's the picture. As you may have noticed by now, I read all of them and respond to many. I got to double check. So I'm pretty sure that was you. I'm not good with names. I mean, it's the right picture, but the name's different on the comments. That's weird. Oh, yeah. It's because YouTube Studio is dumb. Anyway, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Dan Tupper is also here. Hello, Dan. How you doing there? What's new in Dan's world? My mom is here, and she says, I remembered in time. Hello, everybody. Hi, Mom. I assume you still have some cider to drink. Walter G902 is here. It says, what up? What's in the box, dude? All right, cool. So here we go. So I got another surprise this week. I mean, the corn dog necklace, really good. Really good. I'm excited about that. But I also got, I shouldn't show that. It's got personal information. I got this box, and there's stuff in it that I've been waiting eagerly for. So we're gonna open the box. It's from Ellicott City, Maryland, from our friend Walter G. Ooh. Some bubble wrap. That's awesome. It's gonna be great later. Right away, this is on top. Ooh, 70 Super Bee. This box is full of Johnny Lightnings and that sort of thing. It's got a chain pinstripe. It's amazing. I think those are center lines. They got the holes, though. I don't know what you call that. This is quite something. It's a 73 Roadrunner, all jacked up, Street Freak style with a Hemi. That is nifty. I've never seen any Hot Wheels like that. It's got ladder bars and Kraggers and look at those fat red lines. You kind of see the Hemi poking through there. That's amazing. Super cool. Blower and everything. But still, this box goes deeper. Oh, dude. Red, white, and blue 71 Demon. Oh, that is awesome. It's got the scoops. It's got the stripes. The grill's right. Wow. License plate number, Libert. Didn't have room for the Y. That is awesome. There's a lot of stuff in here. Dude. The Red Runner. It's a Volare Roadrunner project in progress. And it's orange-red like mine with a primer nose and the wrong color fender. That is so much like my actual car. I even have the Roadrunner wing for it. It's even the right fender that's the wrong color. Dude, that is amazing. Wow. Ooh. So many bubbles. Okay. There's another one. This one's called the Yardbird, and that one's blue, which is awesome. Red and blue are my favorite colors in classic Mopars. Any red and any blue. Dude. Okay. Mopar Muscle Shootout. I think that's B3 blue, 71 Demon. How cool is that? Blacked out hood and scoops. Or is it a Hemi scoop? I think it's a Hemi scoop. I can't tell. There's plastic in the way. In the picture, it's a Hemi scoop, but on the car, it's the dual scoops. Wow. This is like Christmas. I love this. Oh, there's actually one of these for sale locally right now. 71 GTX. Yellow with a black roof. I think that one's got a stripe. Or maybe it just has that performance hood. I can't remember. And finally, ooh, another late Plymouth. This one's in a bag. Oh no! A wheel fell off. Damage in transit. Now we have to make a shipping insurance claim. I got it. Look at that. Dog dish Steely. That is a 72? Actually, it doesn't say. That's weird. Well, it's 71 or 2 anyway. Roadrunner, I'm assuming. And it also has a worked on fender. That is so cool. Huh. Okay, it's got a actually turquoise engine. I feel like it should be blue with an orange air cleaner, but wow. Awesome. That is so cool. All of those are going to fit right into my collection. I'm going to have to display them prominently. The Demons are, yeah. And that Volare. That is going on the dash of my Volare. And then I'll still have the other one to display. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but most of my cars, I have a little one. And I have little versions of like a lot of the cars I've had. So anyway, that is so cool. Thank you very much, Walter. It was well worth the wait. Man, that is awesome. That Street Freak Roadrunner is quite something too. Sweet. Appreciate that. Rocket Tom says, picked up a 77 Power Wagon today. Bucket seats and winch. Super rusty, like Rooster rusty. I'm still jealous, though. It looks awesome. Avon is here. Hello, Avon. How's it going? Holy crap, I got a lot of comments while I was doing that. Donnie says, without the beard, I'm sure it's a lot cooler. Yes. Brent Forte says, is the Turbo Slant 6 about to become a thing? Well, I said it was going to become a thing. I've been waiting this whole time for my friend Mike to get the manifold done. And he finally did. So that is awesome. Yeah, so I'm just kind of putting the pieces in order. I'm trying to figure out what my best plan of attack is. Do I put the 4-barrel manifold and the atomic setup on there now, get it running NA, and then pull the manifold or find a different manifold, hack it, fab up the turbo manifold, or do I just do it all at once? I'm trying to decide my next stage. And the other problem is I already put a new fuel tank in the car that I want to do this to. Excuse me. And it's not an EFI tank, so I got to figure out how to do the fuel system. It's also got the wrong sending unit, 5/16 line, so I'll have to change that and get a return line one. So I'm still working on the ins and outs of that, but we're getting closer. Like I say, I've been waiting for that manifold for a while. Now I've got to start on the turbo exhaust manifold and just decide how I want to do this. But I have the turbo, I have the intake, I have the EFI system. I've got a lockout, an electronic distributor, and I have to use an MSD 6A box, which is fine because I'm about to take one off the charger. And with that, the atomic system can do timing control, which is awesome. So I can set up the curve, I assume, for boost, which is just great. I'll be able to tune it, time it, infinitely in the computer. So that's going to be awesome. Generally, I'm not really a fan of EFI and Magic these days, but for this project, I just think it makes perfect sense. I have all the parts. They were basically free, so let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to make it happen. I can't say how soon there will be a turbo on a slant making choo-choo noises, but it's happening. Mr. MSM is here with us and says, how do all? How's it going there? How you doing? Ross is here and says, hi. Hi, Ross. How are you? Stacy says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend. I did. I was actually supposed to be on with Dust Devil Garage last night, and unfortunately, I kind of double booked myself, and I had to go to a rock show. My friend's band was playing, and a band called Tacos was playing after them. I still have the stamp. So I kind of had to bail on that, which I apologize profusely for. I really do want to come hang out on your channel. Sounds like a party. But anyway, my weekend's going pretty good. Nick Durkitz is here with us and says, hey, man. Hey, Nick, how's it going? I've been seeing a lot of comments from you, too. Appreciate that. Thanks for being here with us. And the other DDG does say, what's up? Got my truck running today. Woohoo. Awesome. So I watched the first video you put up on it, and was it you were like off camera and one of your buddies was there messing with it and just cranking it over, and I was like, yeah, it's a runner. You could just hear right away it was gonna go. So cool. Sounds awesome. I was mostly just running around doing family what's the word? Errands, I guess, today. And then I went and picked up some wood. That's cool. I got a future bar top. It's actually like an ancient piece of lumber off of a ship. So that's cool. And then I spent like 45 minutes on my charger. My charger developed a horrible misfire and didn't really want to idle anymore. So I'm currently fixing everything wrong with it by changing the valve covers and painting the top of the engine. And it has to be done by Tuesday because the charger's actually being featured in a couple scenes in a movie. The second scene has already been filmed, which is awesome. I got to do the driving, and that was cool. The second scene we're going to do Tuesday, so I have to have it running again by then. I'm sure that'll be fine. Stage 0 Jason is with us and says, I am arrive. Rooster still is not arrive. I think he's still working on a cheeseburger, but we should have Rooster here with us pretty soon. Nick Durkett says, I'm back for more. Nice. Donnie says, I know it's been hotter than an attic in hell and quite anist. I really like that we're using anist as a verb. Also, I got a huge kick out of, I said his name, and I think Rooster's actually hopping in now. I got a huge kick out of, they hate us because they ain't us. Yes, my mom has noticed that I have gone over 12,000. Yes, that actually happened. I think it happened last Sunday, and I totally forgot to say anything, but I am above 12,000 subscribers now. Oh, my mom says she's about to limp out and grab the last cider. Brent wants to know, are we going to see more on your buddy's Barracuda? I don't think so. It's back in Seattle now. In the future, yes. And if you're curious about that, he's actually starting a channel of his own called Lil Hot Rod Shop. So you can go check that out there. And when he posts a Barracuda video, I will share it on my channel and you'll see it. Oh, and Curly Joe Robbie says, yes, at 65, I've been sitting inside with the 109-degree dry heat outdoors, catching up with your work and uploads. How about a quick devilish giggle? Only from you. Sounds best. I don't know if I can do it on command. It's kind of like that. I'm pretty sure it's a Scooby-Doo sound. And on that terrible disappointment, Bell James is here. Hey, Bell James, how you doing? I'm going to bring Rooster on because I think he's finished with his cheeseburger and he's ready to roll. Hey, Rooster, how you doing?
Great. How's everyone in the live tonight?
Well, I'm good. I think everyone else seems to be okay. No one said they're not yet. We've got 53 people out there with us, which is great. I'll take a quick second to say if you haven't done this, please hit like on the stream because it does stuff for the deal.
And if you're new, you should really subscribe to this channel because this man is brilliant.
Well, if they're here, they've probably already subscribed. But what they should do is tell their friends.
That's a good plan.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of which, of course, joining me here. Look, I got it. The camera's backwards, so everything's backwards. He's over here. Rooster right here. Rooster's channel, of course, is Rooster's Restos. He's just started posting videos again and doing cool stuff. One of his current projects, 67 Coronet, which I'm excited for. And, of course, he's got a couple other nice Mopars that have been in his fleet for a long, long time that I'm sure we're going to be seeing. So there's exciting stuff happening over there that you should also check out.
Well, you're just excited because there's an 850 horse blower motor leaking out of the hood.
Yeah.
Or leaping out of the hood. I'm not sure which yet, but we'll work on that.
Like this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know we're in your office tonight. Last time we had you streaming, we were out in your shop and you were leaning against one of those engines.
That was the Hemi.
Hemi.
Tom put me in the corner, big poo head. Actually, no, that was when we did the live, I think, with Tom when he was coming back from Mopars in the park, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was really a lot of fun. I enjoyed that night.
I thought that was great. And I know you did get to see finally in the trailer, the 70 Roadrunner project, which of course I did put a second video out on today. I don't know why it is every time we touch that car, it's like crunch time. Like there's no time to do anything. There's no time to slow down and say anything. I just have to do it. So this video is just installing the 6-barrel, going for a drive around the yard, done. But there's so much more to do.
Yeah, don't forget the brakes are optional.
They absolutely are. And I hooked the parking brake up. I adjusted the shit out of it. The pedal feels like it does something. There's still no brake. There's nothing. But
yeah, I'm pretty that car needs an incredible amount of love, but it has got some incredible bones. I saw it when Tom was here, and I had to wipe the drool off my chin. It was, because that's one of my favorite cars, and I go all gaga over an air grabber car anyway. It just is so what it is.
If you saw today's video, you will notice we did hook up the vacuum lines to the air grabber. I don't know that it's right, but we got it to open, and that's all that matters.
Yep. So you're sucking butterflies out of the air. That's a good thing.
Butterflies and bees, and it's not quite big enough for large birds. Maybe small birds could get in there.
Yep, sparrows.
Yeah.
So with my stuff, though, if I get a sparrow in my blower hat, well, there's a screen underneath it. So thank God for that. But yeah, but I've actually had cars that I have sucked bugs into the carburetors. And yeah, that's just a mess.
Wow.
So,
I'm usually running air cleaners on mine, but I'm sure a couple of my engines have eaten bugs over the years.
We were at a drag strip when I was younger, and I had a 2.4 set up on a dart, and I just had a scoop on the carburetors, and I wanted to grab all the air it could, and then we had a mayfly hatch, and that was a mess. Not only did it turn the track into a slimy, greasy mess, and I had to shut it down, but a lot of the cars pretty much were choking themselves off and gooey goodies. So yeah, that was an experience. I think I was probably 20 years old. So that was a couple weeks ago.
Wow. You said dual force, which leads me to bring this up. I don't know if you can see what's going on there, but that manifold under there should look familiar. Now, I'm not committing to this just yet, but I have the intake off, so I had to drop it on there and just kind of check it out. And I do have
the 68 Charger's getting 2.4s.
Not yet. Not yet, but I had to put it in there. The thing is, that manifold is so short, the modern Edelbrock's hit. So I've got to put carb spacers on there. Plus, it's got that wall down the middle, which isn't what you want either. So I don't know if I want to go in and cut the wall or just run inch open spacers, if that's enough. I'm not sure yet.
I have some tricks I'll share with you on how to work with those cast iron monsters, but they're heavy, they're awkward. They make a lot of low end torque, and that's what they were designed for.
They're not, yeah. You could tell just looking at the runners and the way they're set up, that's not a screaming horsepower thing. But for that car, that's what that is,
Well, they're not designed to get, to perform at 5,000 and above like a tunnel ram is. They're designed to make power from 1,500 to 4,500 horsepower. But if you got a big heavy B body, they'll make her scoot. And people aren't out there running down the highway. Well, some people are stupid, but I mean, most people with muscle cars aren't out there running down the highway at 150 miles an hour. They're out there, they're going from traffic light to traffic light, and they want that low end snap, and that's what's fun. But the most fun about having that on a motor like my Roadrunner and like your Charger is a thing I call wow factor. I mean, you pull up, you get gas, and say you're going to some guy's sitting there with his Chevelle and he's all that in a bag of chips, and you just pop your hood and go check your oil and watch his jaw bounce off the gas station parking lot,
Yeah, that's why it would go under there for that, that thing. I still got to figure out air cleaner too. I don't know.
What I've been running and what works and what hides underneath the hood, a lot of guys don't like the looks of them, but I do those cute little triangular air cleaners. The only problem with those, if they backfire, is the foam will go away. That's the only problem with those. But I mean, otherwise they look okay, and they allow it to go underneath the hood without making a dent and all that.
Look at them too, but too much. I don't know, but I have had them and run them and just watched the foam disintegrate, and
well, you got to get new ones. But what my point is, though, that if you get a backfire, it will melt that foam, and it's all over your venturis, and it really tends to be a bit of a gooey mess.
No, it's nasty.
So my suggestion is, if just don't let it go lean or whatever, I mean, just give it plenty of fuel to start it up, and hopefully you don't have a weenie roast underneath the hood,
That's, oh man, my 66 Charger, I distinctly remember a time when I did have a little weenie roast under the hood. Good times.
Oh, well, we've had cars come in here with a perfectly burned circle in the center of the hood, all the paint burnt off. I'm sure you've seen that too.
I've seen bubbles. I have seen bubbles for sure.
So who else? Now, the interesting thing about doing the live with you is the fact that I can't see what's actually going on with.
I'll rattle through some comments here. I've got some from just before you hopped on, so we'll run through those. But I mean, all the regulars are here. I know it does when you're on that end of it, you can't really see the comments. Tom always dual screens. He gets his phone going for the camera, and then he's got the laptop up so he can go through them. But man, that's a lot of work.
Well, when I get better at things, I mean, this is the second time I've gone live, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be here. So
awesome.
Thank you, son.
Happy to help. Earlier, Rooster said he was proud of me. He probably won't say that in public, but he said it in private. So
no, I'll say it loud and proud too, because I've got kids of my own, but I'm just saying that if I had a son like you, I'd be damn proud of you. So I mean, don't let your head get all swelled up, and then go play your damn guitar and be a good boy.
Yeah, got it. We'll rattle through some comments. Luke Ditchnell, another regular. We're full of regulars around here, but he's back with us and says, I'm working on a Ford now. It's not my brand, but sentimental. I get sentimental about Ford vans because my dad always drove Ford vans. And it's weird, and I should hate them, but I just love them. So I get it. Dust Devil Garage says the Roadrunner looks like his Duster. Yeah, I don't know if yours has quite that much rake, but it does have the side pipes and the dual quads through the hood. So yeah, I could see that. John Iannetta, I'm assuming. That's a name I don't recognize, so you must be new here with us. And he says, hi, Jamie. Loved your Cornet 500 video. You got that car running fast. I had a leg up on that one because it was already in a runnable state within the last few months. It's just a previous owner tried to put electronic on it, scrambled things, and yeah. I've been here a few times, John. It's one of my one of my superpowers. Is figuring out how to get things to run. You know, if a Chrysler engine turns, I'll have it running pretty quick, unless I let all the smoke out of the starter, which does happen. Donnie says he loves the 73 Roadrunner Hot Wheels. He's not biased at all. And Donnie said hi to you, by the way, Rooster, while you were still grilling a hamburger.
Yeah, well, howdy, Donnie. I can't wait till he gets going on the satellite, too, because that was one of the things I talked to him last week. Yep. And that was one of the things he's really itching to get rolling on. But he keeps getting projects coming into the shop that take him away from the fun things, you know.
Like 6 Corvettes. That's too many Corvettes.
Yeah. He's up to his eyelids in Corvettes right now. That seems to be, it's either Corvettes or BMWs or something. There's always something new floating around in his shop.
Yeah. Now, you guys got to understand, it's the same with me. I mean, right now, I have a 90s Ram here. I have a Dakota. I have a Subaru, customer Subaru. I always have mail trucks in and out the shop. I have a mail truck transmission job coming tomorrow. I've got what else is coming tomorrow? Another Ram pickup, actually. I'm doing stupid stuff all the time. The difference is I don't show you because it's just not worth seeing. You know, no one wants to watch me put a transmission in a mail truck.
I think this comment here is hilarious. So I used to get Hot Wheels from my dentist.
Yeah.
As a kid. Believe it or not, my dentist used to give us Tootsie Pops. Now, as an adult, thinking back on that, that's job security.
I've heard this before. The dentist giving out candy. Curly Joe thinks the Volare toy car is silly. I gotta say, I think they're awesome, and I love that there's a red one almost just like mine. I like that stripe too. I wonder if they reproduce that. I'd love to make a ratty Roadrunner clone if I could find the window louvers. I did not expect the love that people have for the Volaris. I really, really didn't. To me, I've always been an A-body guy, and obviously the B-bodies are like the great cars. The A-bodies are the cheap ones I could get. I love them, you know, but the late Volaris, it's just like, why? And so many people love them. So many people like that piece of crap one I got. A commenter the other day, was it the video about restorations when I said that was a mistake? I said at the very last clip I showed was the Volare and I kicked it or something. And I said it was a piece of garbage. And the guy was like, I almost subscribed. I really wanted to watch this video because there was a Volare in the thumbnail and you disrespected it. What the fuck?
That you saved that Volare from the Crusher. I mean, seriously, that there's nothing left of that car. It's
not quite as bad as it looks, but the trunk is just, I could rip the trunk open right now. The quarters are bad. The trunk floor is bad. I can see the ground through the trunk floor, through the trunk lid. The front of the car and the floors are okay. I mean, structurally it's okay, but it's not good. And it wasn't a good car to begin with. I had really bad fun ideas for it that everyone would hate. But I just don't understand it. People love it, and that's fine. People are into different things. I accept that. People really, really love the 79 Chrysler too. And I like it. It's grown on me quite a bit, but it's not like that was ever my dream Mopar. It's a late car, it doesn't have that same appeal. But I've gotten a lot of people who are almost rabid about those 300s and Cordobas, and that's interesting. Not what I expected at all.
You also brought up Diecast. Here, we'll do this for everybody.
Yeah.
So, as a lot of people know, that I had a relationship with Ronnie Sox as a friend of his, and then so that, and so I'm going to learn how to run the camera. Yeah. And anyway, so there's some Sox and Martin stuff, and then I knew Dick Landy really well too, and so I've got his '65 Dodge, which is altered, wheelbase car. And then there's, his claim to fame was the '68. Actually, he loved that car. Not so much the Coronet, but his '68 Charger, he would brag about that thing all the time. And then we got some, like, there's a yellow Charger like the one in my garage.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then I got a Coronet up there like the other one. So, yeah, and a picture in the background of a snowmobile I bought hanging in a barn. Oh, there's a good one. That's my kid's Cuda up there in the corner there.
Oh, wow.
The one I built for him in high school. He actually his first car show, he won Young Guns class with it. Wow. So that was kind of a hoot. But there you go. I'm done.
That's awesome. I don't have a whole lot of die-casts. I have a few. I have a red '66 Charger that I love. My brother got me that one year. I don't know. They're expensive. Hot Wheels are cheap. You just, Anyway, so I got tons and tons of those. My die-cast.
Oh God, I got a whole room full of them. If you did travel out here, I'm pretty sure that you'd kind of like be Bugs Bunny in the giant carrot patch. You'd just be dragging your knuckles across the ground. So
I already know that.
I keep sending you fun things, intakes and speaking of which, I'm gonna bring this up. Did you ever get back to the 273 build? Because I sent the intake and the pan for that.
I got the parts. I haven't gotten to the build yet. I need to go visit Dan Tupper because he's got some more parts for me, and he's done a lot of thinking on this idea. He's got several 273s of his own, so I'm kind of going to get with him and see what's what. He said he had some good things for the project, so he's down in Vancouver, so that's a bit of a drive for me. But I will probably go visit Dan before I really get back in on the 273 project. I have thought about it a lot. I'm all about budget engines, but I also really want to see how many screaming RPMs I can get out of that 273. I've had a lot of comments from people about it. So yeah, I'm not diving into it yet.
On that motor, if you were to get the crank balanced really well, and just use the stock rods, you should be able to get 6,500 out of it pretty easily.
Yeah.
And it will sound like it's gonna go to pieces at that RPM, but it will take it. Those are tough little motors.
I'm excited about it. My thing is, Dale has told me this several times. He shifted the 340 Demon at 6,800 RPM. And what's the difference between a 273 and a 340? Bore size and compression.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, well, pretty much bore. I think the stroke is a little bit shorter than a 273, if memory serves.
No, they're exactly the same. 273.
They are exactly the same.
They're exactly the same. In fact, if you wanted to build a stock 340 and you broke your crank, you go to a 273 or a forged crank 318, early 318, even a poly, 62 to 67 poly. And you take that forged crank, it's the same as the 340, except the 341 is cross drilled, or it's drilled. They took weight out of it to account for the heavier pistons, but you can have that fixed by a machinist, no problem. It goes right in there. They're exactly the same.
Well, the 318 evolved from the 273.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so, and I believe it.
The LA 318 is a 273 bored out to that size, but it was a replacement for the Poly 318, of course. So they have the same bore size, stroke, displacement, and they do share some pieces. So
I used to call the Poly 318s. They used to call them the little big blocks.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what they were. They were a dominant little motor. People underestimated. Through the history of my whole Mopar career, which is 48 years of playing with this crap.
Wow.
The 318s have really been the most underestimated motor ever. Everybody, oh, you got a 318. Oh, they're junk. You know, it's like, come over here. Let me show you, son.
Yep. And that's my thinking with the 273. It's the same kind of thing. It's that little magic. It's, oh, you know, that's a boat anchor. Rip that out, put a 360 in, put a 408 stroker in. No, I don't think so. I mean, I've seen 283 Chevys with dual quads on a tunnel ram doing wheelies. It's a 10 cubic inch difference between the 273 Mopar and that little 283. And it just seems to me like it's the perfect period, like gasser, small displacement gasser, like the Sega guys run. It just seems like that's my vision, you know, it's just a screaming small block Mopar. And I think it's a neat idea.
Well, if you stuffed it in one of those Cudas that you got, it would be a full-blown animal.
Yeah.
Because those Cudas don't weigh anything. And that's what the guys, back when I was a kid, the guys used to stuff the 273s built up, and they would stuff them in the Cudas.
Yep.
And they were taking on the Camaros of the 67 Camaros and things like that. And they were embarrassing the Chevy boys really bad because, again, underestimated.
In my 66 Barracuda 4-speed, I've got the 8 3/4. I've got several gear chunks to choose from, but I'm thinking the 488s are probably going to be what I need. And let's see what it'll do, you know. And again, it's not going to set a time that'll set the world on fire, but goddamn, it's going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, speaking of 318s, we'll be talking about mine and the D100 a little later, but you probably should get caught up on comments. But just a quick thing here. What did you think of the sound of the motor I have in the D100, that 318?
It sounded pretty good.
You got the last video I sent you?
What's that?
Did you get the last video I sent you last week?
I think I probably did. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sure I saw it, but man, you know, there's just so many messages in here. You know, it can be hard to tell. Let's see if I can find it. You sent me something else and you said, did you build this? Which is, I wish I did. It's a
yeah, that was hilarious. Some guy built something. He was climbing around in the snow with it, and like a 4-wheel drive truck frame with 46-inch tires, and he put like a V4 or V twin 2-stroke liquid cooled thing in it, and it was hilarious. There's a lot of construction. The reason I brought
what's that?
Oh, the reason I brought that video up is that you can tell by listening to that video about how the motor is, because that 318 is 120 over. It's actually a 338.
Wow. Well, here, I got the video right here.
I just had to send this to you because I just love how this thing sounds. I wish I had a better exhaust.
Chop, 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 chop.
When you can count the cylinders on the camshaft bolts, I mean, damn. It just gives me a woody.
Well, I do have fun. Wait till you hear what the latest motor I'm working on. That's all big block fun, but that's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice.
You keep doing all the stock stuff and being the god of all wiring, and I'll keep doing the stupid stuff.
I'm going to stay in my lane. You know, I just, big blocks are great. Torque is great, but the small block Mopar just gives me the warm and fuzzies. And where I am best is stock junk, just making it work the way it's supposed to work. You know, that's where I'm happy. It's where I'm comfortable. I love a budget performance build here or there. I have some great plans of a blown big block in a late charger someday, and I'd love to put a blower on a small block, frankly, if I could get a manifold. I'd love to see what I can do with the small block, but you know, that's where I'm happiest. I don't need to make 800 horsepower to have a good time. 4 or 5 minutes play.
Well, the only time I stay in my lane is when I'm going down the drag strip, so I'll just warn you about that.
All right, we'll run through some comments, and I do want to apologize to everybody. Usually, as you know, I do try to get to every single comment, but I've got Rooster on here today, and obviously we got a lot to talk about, so it seems unlikely I'll get to everybody. But if I do see, important comments, questions for Rooster, anything about, this weekend's videos, I will try to get to those. But I'm going to skip around a little bit. Although Lovejoy dropped in, so we got to say howdy to Lovejoy. Thanks for being here. And Walter G, who sent me the presents. I'm having a hard time picking a favorite. There's some good stuff here. That's so cool. I love the little demons.
Is Jorge in today?
I haven't seen him, and I don't think
Well,
we've had Jorge for a few weeks, actually. So
if he happens to pop in, I'll have to pick on him a little bit.
Sounds good. But Walter G, who sent me the card, says, I probably have over 500 Johnny Zingers. Wow. I actually make my own Zingers as well. I turned both the Volare Roadrunners into Zingers. Wow. Bob says those gifts are amazing. Super props to your Santa. Yep, that's Walter G, right above you in the comments. That's so cool. I can't. I'm having a hard time containing my excitement. Ooh. Tom, ever the bad influence, just sent me this. 47 cab over. That's a crazy build. It's expensive enough. And then he sent me this, which is a lot more my speed, a $1,500 69 swept line. That's pretty sweet. Curly Joe Robbie says those are not from Mattel, correct? Playing Mantis. It's the Johnny Lightning series, but apparently that's the parent company. I've never heard of them. Playing Mantis. I'll be damned. This one says 2001, so I don't, they might belong to someone else by now. Doesn't say. Couldn't tell you, but no.
Those are out of production.
Yeah. Big Wrench says, from Mopar Wizard to Mopar Mad Scientist. I can't reach the light.
Yeah, that's my son gave me that nickname.
Oh, Mad Scientist?
Yeah, he'd introduced his friends to me, and he said, yeah, this is my dad, the Mad Scientist.
Nice. Curly Joe Robbie says, your techie talk is beyond your years. Yes, I started with Mopars. God, it's been 16 years now, actually. 16 years ago, and I've been saying 15 for way too long. I've just broken them in all the wrong ways to figure out how to fix them. My thing was, let's take this piece of crap A-body, put it on the road, drive it everywhere, every day, and see what happens. And that's how I got to where I am. Also, I know you're going back and watching a bunch of my videos, which is awesome. Again, I really do appreciate that. Until a couple weeks ago, I had a beard that made me look about 10, 15 years older than I am, which I had had for like over a decade. And I shaved because someone said I should do that when I hit 10,000 subscribers, which I did. But I looked like I had the years, and now I look like a teenager or some shit. So anyway, thank you for that, though. Donnie says, hit the like, folks. It does things for the deal. Stacy's still getting paint out of his nose after painting his hood last night. Looks like a coal miner. I'm always doing that. It's always, the flat black. It's good stuff. Jason says, I was at the big Iola car show in Wisconsin. Yes, the real Derek from the Vice Grip Garage was doing a transmission swap live at the show, although he was very focused on that. Pretty cool. Stan Nelson says, over 12,000 subscribers, but we are the special 55. It's 66 now, according to this number on my screen. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. If you missed the introduction or the title of the video, I guess you probably could have done that. This is Rooster over here from Rooster's Restos. And if you haven't checked out his channel, you should do that. Curly Joe says, that was pretty good. Thanks.
I do have a lot more content. I'm going to make a point in here to bring this up too. I have a lot more content coming in the month of July. I've just been super busy because I have a boat restoration business along with a muscle car restoration business and a ranch and a family. And other than that, I ain't got a thing to do, and I occasionally sleep.
Yeah, you and me both. Rocket Tom says, nobody puts Tom in a corner. Damn it.
I knew I was going to get burned for that one.
It's good stuff. Donnie said, hey, my shovelhead bro. Dan Berg said, good evening, everybody. By the way, Jamie, take good care of my coronet, I'm assuming, and welcome, Rooster. Jason said, why would you ever want to close the air grabber? Totally agree.
Good point.
Brent Forte says, Rooster looks like the kind of guy that would take your money in a street race right after he said, it's just a little 440.
And stick the for sale sign in the window.
Yeah.
Just to make you cry.
Yeah. Remember
I've
that
owned
time
a few Mustangs.
They were telling me to race you for pinks? No.
Chicken.
I'm slow. Yeah. Oren Cahoon says, no worries, the blower will chew up the feathers. Yeah, it might hurt the seals in there, though. Mechanics dropped in and said, good evening, everyone. Dan Berg can't see any comments. That's weird. I don't know why. You should be able to see them. Nick Durkett says, my neighbor had a 2.4 set up on a 383. Chrome Hemi air cleaner, the Chrome Dome, worked really well on it. That's cool. Sounds expensive. I'm just worried about the carb spacing. Is it actually the same, or did he have to modify it?
That doesn't work on that intake.
That's what I'm thinking is the spacing's probably different, but
the that intake had those little
tiny AFBs, right? The original AFBs.
Well, no, they had the tiny AFBs, but they had the oval football looking gold air cleaners. And you don't even want to think about buying those. And the chrome oval air cleaner, like the 67 had for the 2.4 setup,
right?
That just a top for that is like $1,600.
Yeah, that's super expensive. That's kind of what I figured. And Nick says his neighbor had one set up that way. Again, you can modify the base plate. I'm sure it could obviously it could be made to work. Anything could be made to work with a welder and some choice tools and chunks of steel. But damn, that's expensive. So I don't think I'll be putting a chrome dome on mine. I don't know what I would put on it, frankly. I have a vision for my tunnel ram air cleaner, just the basic oval dual quad, straight through. That's kind of what I want. But for under the hood, it's tough. Maybe
the other problem with the chrome dome, I was just going to make a point here, bring this up. The other problem with the chrome dome is it pulled so much manifold and intake manifold, exhaust manifold heat up into it. It boiled the fuel. It was a really big problem back when I was a kid with the guys that were running them. And if you're going to restore something and you're going to just be spot on correct, great. But if you want to make the motor breathe, just get them cute little triangular things and go that route for now.
Yeah. I was also thinking maybe just 2 small rounds. Again, we're not talking about a high RPM, screaming horsepower. It's going to be modest. It's never going to see.
It could breathe through 2 5-inch rounds.
Yeah. Yep. I think it would be just fine. Bulldog Garage Merch dropped in and said hello. I had a Bulldog Garage Merch left a great comment earlier, and I can't remember what it was, but I think I laughed in real life. I don't think I spit my drink out, but it was pretty good. HDF2 says, what up, DDG and Rooster? Hope you all are having a good weekend, or had a good weekend. I certainly did.
I did too.
Ross likes your T-shirt.
Yeah, we got some Farmall collector tractors around here too, amongst everything else.
Nice.
Just remember, one important thing about Farmalls, they're red, and so don't buy the green ones. They're not ripe yet.
I've heard that. Donnie is really into making the memes currently, and he says this is him pulling up next to you in a drag race. I might have 2 doors. And he sent a picture of his little diecast collection too. See, Donnie's into all kinds of stuff. Donnie's not a Mopar nut job.
Oh, he's very diverse on stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, Donnie has been on my case about doing a special on my custom Harley.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that specifically for not only him but other people too. But there's a gal out there from Canada called Little Red, and she's actually doing a feature on my Harley on her channel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, she's doing an explanation of the thing top to bottom, the whole build and everything. She's really an astute young lady, and I'll tell you what, she turn wrenches is just as good and as fast as any guy I know.
Awesome.
So very impressive. Cool.
Bulldog Garage Merch said a tunnel ram 440 is a good idea other than looks. What do you mean? The looks are the best part. You got to cut a hole in the hood, but that's fine. Or just take it off. My mom says she's proud of me too, and she wishes my father was here to see me. He'd be proud. Yeah, I'm sure he would. I'm doing okay, I think.
Well, Mom, Jamie's got a surrogate father.
I got a
How
few
about-
of them, but I count you among them for sure. I set about collecting those, starting I think when I was a teenager, really. But anyway, I'm lucky to have had a lot of good influences. My dad might not be here, but there are other good dads out there, so I think it's worked out okay for me. Shopcat dropped in and says, "What's up, Jamie and Rooster and mechanics? Feels like it's been a minute. I'm not so sure. I feel like it's been a week." First responder garage says the only thing better than side pipes is fender well headers and side pipes. My Cuda's got, or Barracuda 66, the garbage can Cuda is it's got fender wells and they're garbage, but I just love them and I will never change it. It's one of the things that makes that car what it is, the fender wells. So, and that is the car I'm planning to put that 273 in. I built that cheapo 360 for it. That was the engine that was in it. It ate a cam, so we rebuilt it with a used cam and just, cheap and dirty. Are you hearing the sirens? I don't know if you can hear that, but there's sirens going
I hear a cat fight outside my front door, so that's gonna be one.
But yeah, fender well headers, and that car had side dumps. I wouldn't call them side pipes because they didn't run down the sides. I might like to do that, but it always had full 3-inch with glass packs and just angles that went right out the sides. And if I played my cards right with that car, I could shoot fireballs at Priuses and stuff. And yeah, it's good stuff. Jaybird dropped in and said, "Jaybird here, late. Hello all." Of course, this was a few minutes ago. I have to drink now.
You said about
what's that?
You made a comment about putting stripes on a car or something.
Oh, my Lord, maybe.
Oh, well, anyway, my son just striped a white Prius the other day on 16th Street because she cut him off, and he has the twin turbo Cummins, and he laid the coals to it, and he said that when she come up the intersection, it was a black stripe right down the side of her Prius. She had a white Prius. Yeah.
The Cuda didn't black smoke, but what it would do is if you were in a higher gear, so you're lugging it, saying it was an overdrive transmission. So you're going down the highway, 50, 55, you're kind of lugging the engine. So what you would do is you'd mash the throttle and it would and then let off and then rev it and it would go BAM out the side. It was so cool. Good stuff. Jaybird's the owner of the flat black Coronet, which was featured in the video I put out yesterday. Really cool car, I think. And it was originally gold, just like Rooster's Coronet.
Well, you made we used to do a little trick, and a lot of the older guys on this channel that are watching on right now tonight too will remember this. Is we used to drill and tap spark plugs into our tailpipes and then run wires from our coil wire back to the spark plugs so we could shoot flames out of our exhaust. We had it set up on a toggle switch so we could just flip the thing out there and light the plugs up. But if you had a car that was just really terrible on fuel and a lot of unburnt fuel coming out of there, we had our own emission control system.
Oh yeah.
It was a reburn.
A guy I know had these boxes that he would build, and it would cause, I don't know exactly how it works. It was like a timer in there where it would short the coil out. So you'd flick it on and the engine would still running, but it's like missing every other cylinder, every couple cylinders or something like that. And then you'd rev it up and hit the igniter for the spark plugs in the pipes. I think it had separate coils back there or something, and it would go. And that was kind of neat. I'm not exactly sure what kind of science was going on there, but yeah, that I've mentioned before the 68 RT I saw when I was a teenager that had the cam sound and it shot flames. Well, that's how he did it, was with that crazy little box. Interesting stuff. Shopcat, I apologize for skipping over a bunch of your comments. First Responder Garage wants to know, does the mail truck have a Chevy Bell and a 727? No, it's a Chevy engine and a Chevy transmission. At least the ones I've seen. LLV mail trucks, yes. The only other vehicle to use the TH180 that was used in the Chevette. Yes, the 180. And some of them have 700Rs as well. I think the later ones have 700Rs. I haven't seen many of those. Usually they're the 180. Orin Cahoon says there are no Velaris left in New England. They have turned to dust. Had those louvers on my Roadrunner. Sorry, they went to Mopar heaven with the car. Yeah, unfortunately, it's pretty common. Tom says Gary found a 7340 Swinger in Canada, basically the same as the one you sent me, but complete and running for 12,000 US. Is it orange and is there a bunch of rust around the back window? Because I've seen that one.
Oh,
Matt,
Tom, I need a 67 Coronet hood latch assembly. Bad. I've been using a 66 and it's horribly annoying.
I've just realized, we have a 67 Coronet parts sedan.
That would do it. That would do it.
Totally forgot. So he should have one. I actually, funny enough, let's see if I can find it. Yeah. So this parts sedan that's at Rocket is a car that I owned. It was a parts car for the 67 two-door that's still in my garage right now, although it's not going to be much longer. I'm not buying it. I'm just kind of storing it. Anyway, here's a picture that popped up in my memories from 6 years ago. I was out driving somewhere and I just found the damn car on the side of the road. Notice the missing front bumper. That's because I took it for my 66 Charger. Incredible. But it's just so funny. When I first went to Rocket, I didn't recognize the thing. And I think the next time I was there or something like that, I'm looking over and I'm like, I know that car. And I knew that car because I had owned it. So it's just so funny. I traded a boat for it. Or was it the other way around? No, I traded it for a boat. Yes, dear.
Hey there.
You want to say hi to Rooster?
Hi.
He's one of your followers, one of your subscribers. You know that? And he says I need to get more of your videos done too, which I do.
Yep. Dad, get on it.
Yeah. So what's going on?
You see the orange on the black car window out there?
Yeah. It's from fireworks. Yeah, I gotta wash it.
Also, why are the Legos out?
I don't know why the Legos are out. Not sure. Maybe Hot Dog was playing with them.
Not here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to tell him to clean up his mess then. Apparently, there's a guy out of Mexico that reproduces by a lot of F-body parts. Oh, the louvers, spoilers, skirts, etc. They love Velaris and Aspens down there. Interesting.
That is a fact, and that a lot of them did go down to Mexico because they absolutely adore those cars down there.
Wow. JMR had a black 78 Volare RT. I've seen one of those. It was orange, though. It was around here in town forever. It looked just like mine, but it had holes rusted through the side of the quarter panels. He had that as a roller for $100 and put a small valve 340 in it as a young man. There is a black Volare. I don't know if it's still there, but it was 30 miles from here with the 340 in it. And I should have bought it. When I saw it, it was being eaten by bushes, and I just went, that was a while back.
The Volare Roadrunner was actually the last of the Roadrunners, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was it. Yeah, they turned that car into a lot of things. Walter G says Johnny Lightning, Auto World, and Racing Champions, I have some Racing Champions, are all owned by Round 2 along with AMT model kits. Okay, very interesting. Brent Forte says my Swinger 70-318 was a monster. I shifted it at 6,500. That engine got a new timing chain, a 48 cam. That went into my 71. I shifted it at 6,300. The bigger cam took away some RPM, but it was faster and had more horsepower. That's interesting. You'd think it would go the other way, but I don't know.
Not always.
Maybe it was too much lift and outclassing the springs you had. I don't know.
Well, now we're starting to talk about flow characteristics and heads too, because you can out cam your CFM that the heads will actually flow, and I see that as a constant mistake for guys that open up a Summit catalog and go, I want that, and I want that, and I want that.
Give me the biggest mother thumper you have. So I took this cam out of a 383 Belvedere. Dave that owns my Charger owns this Belvedere. It was actually my wife's car. And the kid had just gotten the huge mother thumper and put it in a bone stock 383. He didn't change the converter. He didn't do anything to make it work. It was worthless on the bottom. Wouldn't do a burnout. It just didn't do anything. Then you got it up to this certain point, and all of a sudden it would come alive. It would just go, and then you'd get to like 5,000 RPM, if that, and it would just run out of poop. The heads couldn't support it. It was a set of those small valve heads. I'm sure it had stock springs. It just was bad. It was all bad. Super narrow band where it like came alive, and then it was all over.
I had a guy bring me a comp 513 lift cam for a 360.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, nope. And he said, well, no, I want to put it in here. I want a real aggressive camshaft. And I said, first of all, you have an automatic transmission, so you better go out and buy a stall converter. And I said, because of the lift of this thing. And secondly is you might as well throw the stock heads away and go buy some other heads.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, just put it in there. And I said, no, because you don't even have, you got the wrong rocker ratio. You got the wrong springs. You didn't buy the cam kit. You just bought the cam because it was $212 or something, and yeah, Summit catalog.
Right.
Ooh, shiny things.
See, that's that. And you know it as well as I do that you can't just throw a cam in there and just think it's going to be amazing and magical. It's all about the combination. It's all about those parts working together. I actually took that cam out of that 383 and put in like the most mild cam I could find. And then it did burnouts and it ran okay. Turns out it had a hole in a piston. That's another story. I didn't know that. It ran pretty damn well for a hole in a piston. But that cam is now going in that budget 440 I'm building, and it's got 452 heads, much better ports. I did a cleanup port job. I've got springs for it. And stall, I think we went 2,800. And the Summit guy was trying to talk us into 35, but it's a street-driven car. And I was looking at the chart for that cam and thinking, I think we're going to be just fine. I don't want that loose a converter in a car that a guy is going to drive, I mean, it's still ridiculous. It's too much camshaft, but at least I put a little bit of thought into making it all work together.
I had a guy come into the shop one time, he said he couldn't keep the PVC or the oil cap in the valve covers. And I'm going, well, that's kind of weird. I said, you must have an incredible amount of blow by. And he said, well, I was racing this guy and then he said, then my motor picked up a bit of a miss. And the first thing I thought of is, well, he blew a hole in the piston, and now it's a giant air pump into the crankcase. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. But he was going like, well, how can I fix that? I'm going like, complete overhaul. He goes, no. He's just bummed.
I don't know about blowing things out, but I have seen an engine that when you pull the oil cap off, well, I've seen diesels do this too, but the 360, the CUDA motor that's in the Demon right now, it had blown a head gasket up into crankcase, just up this way into the valley. Like a chunk of it was just gone, and it would chew out of the oil cap when you took the cap off. So a really, really bad head gasket blown in the right direction can do that. I'm not sure how that happens, but apparently it does. I don't know what those dogs are doing, but it's all bad.
Is your sister and your mom's here today? Is your sister in here too?
Yeah, my sister's, well, she was. She actually got here before you did and said, hey, but I haven't heard from her since. So she may or may not be watching. I don't know why the dogs are freaking out. That's special.
I always got to say hi to Caitlin.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and say hi, and she might even hear it. I put this up on the board. If anyone's curious about the Johnny Lightning brand, they were owned by Playing Mantis, and because this first one I looked at it says copyright 2001, so it says Playing Mantis on it. They were owned by them from 94 till about 05 before the Tomica Toy Company bought them out. Johnny Lightning did disappear for a few years. Yeah. But then I was seeing them on shelves again, which is pretty cool. And Walter G also said, I've been collecting Diecast on and off for 20 years. Nice. Zeke Anderson apparently hasn't been here with us for a while because he says, who's this young guy? What happened to that nice bearded gentleman? That nice bearded gentleman hit 10,000 subscribers.
Now we just replaced him with a younger model.
Right. It's so weird. Most people are confused. All the coffee stand gals, most of the coffee stand gals are like, are you that guy that had a beard? What happened? A gal today knew exactly who I was, didn't say a word about it, hadn't seen me since I shaved, and said, your wife likes it with less sweet, right? Her white mocha with less sweetener, right? Yeah. I just let it go, but that's the only person who has been like, oh yeah, I know exactly who you are.
Jamie's just upset because he didn't have those extra snacks hiding in his beard he could have whenever he wanted.
No, but I still have a bag of ketchup chips from Stacy if I get really peckish. Alex Grazioso dropped in. Of course, Alex, a longtime member of our lives since just about the beginning, I think. And Alex says, hey, everyone. Hope you all had a great week. Also, Jamie, the haircut took 20 years off your face. Yes, I've heard 10 to 20. I think with the beard and the, and it kind of had the skunk stripe and the hair, I looked like I was in my late 30s, early 40s, probably. And now I think I look a lot like my younger brother, who is 24 now. So anyway, sounds about right. My mom says the t-shirt reminds her of her grandfather's old tractor, but it was gray. So probably a Ford then, I suppose.
Yep.
And she says she appreciates all the surrogate fathers I've had. Yeah. Whole just a few
Thanks,
of them.
Mom.
Walter G also sent me a picture of his, holy shit, of his zingers. Look at that.
Damn.
That is, I've got a little display case, but that is something else. Wow. Look at all that. That is so cool. Is that a 64 Plymouth? Superbirds, obviously. Yeah, I think that's 64. Challenger in there. Some Chevrolets. A Javelin. Wow. Wow. That is cool. And then there's some more. Oh. Yep, there's one of those Velaris set up that way. Oh, man. Look at that. Volari.
Now you're just gonna have to buy one. You'll be searching the internet tomorrow.
For a Volari RT or for one of these cases?
The toy.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. They're all toys. I'm going to show you guys. Death Devil Garage, the other DDG, sent me a picture after the new truck shot burnout. Look at that. That is impressive. I have been planning to do shop burnouts, but I'm afraid of ruining things. There's other people's painted cars in there that aren't mine. Yeah. Tough call.
That's great when you got guys holding the car back of the car so it doesn't go one direction or another. Because we kind of tried to do that once and it got a little sketchy.
Some things you don't want to slide into. Yeah, that's another consideration. Rocky Myers says you had to push in the manual choke for the plugs in the exhaust. Yeah, that would richen the hell out of it. Send a ton of extra fuel back there, and then you could light it off. That would work, I feel like. Zeke Anderson also said that spark plug trick's from the 50s. My dad did that on his new 58 Impala. Nice.
Yep, that is.
Nice.
That's a Fonzie trick.
Donnie wants to know, Rooster or Jamie, what stall converter do you recommend with the 292, 501, 110 cam? 292 advertised duration, 501 lift, 110 overlap. Or
128.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking. I mean, they will give you a recommendation right there. You look at the card.
It's could be on the cam card.
Yep. You look at the cam card.
But I'm going to guess out right off the top of my head about 2800 stall would be
that's what I'm
kind of fitting. Wouldn't go any higher than that.
Yeah, and especially for a car, again, if you're going to drive it, you don't want to get too ridiculous. But
Johnny's not going to drive it; he's going to beat the hell out of it.
Yeah, I think he wants to drive and enjoy that car. It's funny, we were kind of going over his engine yesterday. It's cast in 82, but it's got 360 heads on it, and it's got early like 273 valve covers and all the early accessories with the cast iron water pump, which is kind of weird.
That's in the satellite?
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little flower.
Dang.
You want to show the people? Ava got a little flower.
Aw.
Yeah. It's very cute. Yeah. I'm guessing someone had that car, got it without drivetrain. Like, bye. Maybe someone had a spicy engine that they kept and sold the car off, and somebody else kind of pieced together whatever they could find. But he says it's a torque monster. Sometimes with 360 heads on the 318, you lose port velocity, you lose compression, and it's actually not a good thing. And he says it works really well, so that's cool. Someone must have done their homework. I don't know. Maybe it's got aftermarket pistons or who knows what. But yeah. Oh, Dan Berg wants to know where you hail from.
Midland of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Why I have a boat addiction problem.
There's a lot of lakes. Man, we got like 3 here. Nick Turkett says, Chrysler's at Carlisle this coming weekend. Need anything? I am still on the lookout for a short, small block, dual quad intake. And most of them are made to fit 273s. There's actually one on Craigslist in my area, kind of, for a reasonable price right now that someone modified to fit a standard LA. I should probably just go buy that one. Other than that, yeah, cool stuff. Not really.
No spending more money.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, Aspen RT, not a Volare. Aspen RT. Yeah, the Volare, Performance Volare was the Roadrunner. Those cars are the same to me. There's Aspen, Volare.
So the Dodge Aspen and the Plymouth Volare Roadrunner. So the Aspen RT and the Volare Roadrunner are made on the same platform.
Well, they're all the same platform. Like every Volare is just like, yeah. To me,
yeah.
I don't know. I just have this like blindness to body styles. I look at the Duster and Demon and go, yeah, they're the same damn thing. I look at those all F bodies and I'm just like, yeah, they're the same car. So anyway, yes, it was an Aspen RT, not a Volare. It was an orange Aspen RT, and it had holes like in the quarter and maybe in the door. Like, I don't know, but they worked at Radio Shack, and I saw that car all the time. I don't know whatever happened to it. Ross says, Rooster, I have a D282 on the engine stand right now, and I don't know what that is.
The D282 is a diesel 282 cubic inch Farmall motor that you would have found in a 706, 756 in that era. So from 67 to 71, I think.
Gotcha. Cool. Tractor things. Being not in the Midwest, I don't know dick all about tractors.
I'm a farm boy.
Yeah. I mean, my neck is pretty red, but yeah, we don't really have fun.
You just get out of the sun and it'll go away.
Well, maybe. Have you seen I've got the farmer's tan. That's not a problem. So anyway, I see you've got one as well.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Donnie says, I love my Roadrunner Tribute 318 hodgepodge. I'm not sure what the hell it is, but it'll light the tires. Martin D says, my wife's first new car was a 76 Volare Custom 318, yellow with the stripe package and white interior. It was a great car. We loved it. Unfortunately, lost it to the infamous fender rod out. And it was infamous the first couple of years of those F-bodies especially. Excuse me. Quite bad. Oh, and my sister did say, I am here. My phone forced an update, so I disappeared for 10 minutes.
Hi, Caitlin.
Yeah. Rooster's here. Over there. See, I'm getting really good at this.
Yeah.
I know when we were testing your camera earlier, you were like, damn it, everything's backwards.
That was hilarious.
On the normal YouTube, if you stream right on YouTube, it mirrors it in your screen. So so things are normal. But when you're using StreamYard, so we can have both of us on, it shows what the people see, and what the people see is backwards. So left is right. It's so confusing. Anyway, Michael Adamo dropped in a bit ago and said, hello, everyone. Zeke Anderson says, no, you looked 30. Now you look like you lost a bet. Wow. Mitch Holmquist says, cam timing can make a huge difference too. Well, yeah. Degreeing your cam is essential. And having said that, it's something I have literally never done, ever, not once. But that's because I do things the wrong way. Mitch says, I once changed my timing chain and lost a full second in ET. I put the old sloppy chain back in and picked it right up. The cam liked to be retarded. Huh. Yeah. Okay. I mean, retarded cam timing does favor high RPM and horsepower. Advancing it favors low end torque. My sister says she's still really disappointed she somehow lost her twin to our youngest brother. Yeah. People have said we're twins, but we're not twins. For whatever reason, after cutting my hair, I look like Alex. So that's interesting. Walter G says he's got 2 of them cases filled with zingers. Oh, awesome. Alex Grazioso, and I think I knew this, says, yes, one of your first 200 subscribers, and I attended the first DDG live. Super proud of you and how your channel has grown, brother. Thanks very much, Alex. I really appreciate that. Brent says, I look like Richard Gere, a Mopar nut, and a gentleman. And yeah, Walter said those Aspen zingers, which I was excited about, are customs that he made, which is so cool. That's awesome. It's nothing but zingers he's made over the years. Nice. Cave Dave's here with us. Cave Dave, another frequent flyer, and says, hey, Jamie, I'm not saying much tonight. I'm fighting with my friggin' Plymouth. And I know this will be hard. He's got that 65 Plymouth B-body. I think it's a satellite.
I had a special shout out to Dave there too.
Yep.
He's quite a character.
Eric Tate says, good evening, everybody, and DDG, and to your guest, Roosters Restos. I'm here from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. How's it going, Eric? Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate that.
We've officially crossed the whole United States.
Oh, we're all over. Yeah. We're unfortunately at the wrong time to get the people from most of the other countries, although we have had people here from Sweden in the live, which is interesting. They must get up.
Well, Donnie's in Florida. You got a guy up in PA, and I'm in Minnesota. And now we got to have some Texas and Arizona folks, and we got her all wrapped up.
The whole thing. We do have Stacy, in the Canada, so we got that covered.
Yep.
Yeah. Zeke says, my wife hates the beard. I haven't shaved or trimmed in 4 years. I had my wife move back at the end of 2014, and I had the beard then, and I had it for probably 2 years or something like that. So I figure it's 11 or 12 years I had the beard. Hadn't seen my chin. I had no idea what I look like anymore. And then the hair, last haircut I got was in toward the end of 2019. And then, the world ended or whatever. I just grew it out to ponytail length and went, yeah, this is fine. And I started wearing hats. I've kind of stopped wearing hats, which is a problem because I've collected a bunch of nice hats. Anyway, my wife was saying for some time, I wouldn't mind if your beard was gone.
I'd have a DDG hat on instead of my Charger one, but my boss won't give away anything for free.
Oh, yeah. Well, the problem is I just don't have them. I have to buy them, same as anyone else, to send them to people. It's a problem. It is a problem. Oh, Bell James, who knows this well, says, if you really want to accomplish something, find a 79-300 diecast. Now, that would be a miracle. I have a feeling that even a Cordoba is probably not out there in diecast, or maybe Hot Wheels. I don't know. Funky ones. Timothy Russell says, hello, DDG family. Alex Grazioso says, Jamie, you should come by North Carolina. Check out Billy West Peden's Mopar Graveyard. Miles and miles of Mopar from the 40s all the way to the 80s. Interesting. Oh, Bulldog Garage says Jamie's hiding a Plymouth Trail Duster. I'm not hiding anything. Those are my coworker Evans. He's got 2 of them. Actually, if you want, I did a video on a blue 73 Charger. I've done a few videos on it, actually. That's the one we're building the stroker engine for. But the first video, the revival of that car last summer, Evan was trying to revive one of his trail dusters right next to me reviving that Charger. So kind of cool. And I showed it a little bit. I've never featured either of those rigs, but he didn't have any luck getting either of them to run. We're not really sure what's going on, jump timing or what it is, but someday we'll see trail dusters. Someday. JP says, hey, Jamie in chat, new subscriber and new to the chat. Apologies if this has been asked and answered, but how is the 73 Charger coming along? I haven't seen any other videos posted lately. I have to wonder if he's talking about the blue one I just mentioned or the red one. You see, I'm building two 73 Chargers. Well, I'm doing the engine. We are building one at Rocket. And then the owner of the other one and I are building one here at my home shop. That is what I call the toolbox charger. I have a whole series of videos on that. I've referenced the budget 440 I'm building for that car in this live stream. The blue car is just kind of waiting. We've got other builds at Rocket that are a little more pressing. We've got the red Challenger. It's supposed to be to a cruise at the end of August, and we are running out of time. So we're focused on that. We're focused on the Coronet convertible, just trying to get those out. So we haven't touched the blue one. The dark red one is just chugging along here. The short block is together. I got the heads done. I just did a basic port job cleanup, nothing special. Last week, finished those. So I'm chugging along, but it's slow, real slow. Oh, and Michael Adamo says at some point the Aspen RT turned into the Super Coupe in the late 70s. Have you ever seen a Super Coupe? People have talked to me about them, but I've never seen one.
No, I've never seen one.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of neat. Oh, Desert Mopar says Phoenix is represented here, fellas. So we got that going.
Cool.
Cool. And Michael Adamo is also from Philadelphia. Oh, and Texas is here. So we got just about, we got the whole, damn near the whole nation. That's pretty impressive. Man, I actually just about got to the bottom of the comments. That's hell of an achievement, I think. So there were other things we were going to talk about. Oh, Bolt Schultz says, I just started watching your channel recently. My 87 D250 overheated on the highway and all the coolant came out. That is a problem. You should fix that.
We were going to have a conversation tonight to maybe possibly help other people here that might run into the dilemma that I ran into with my D100.
Yep.
And a little background on a D100. It's 79 D100 with a 318, punched 120 over, so it's a 338. It's got a moderate camshaft. The 202 heads. It's a daily driver for the shop, and it gets out there and does things.
If you've been here with us for a bit, you heard the chop from that engine about what? Well, maybe 20, 30 minutes ago now, but that's the truck we're talking about. Your phone's making noises.
I just found out that I get phone calls when I'm on a live, and that's annoying.
It's a problem.
Okay, so I went to go with a car cruise with a bunch of guys, and we were just going to go do the river run along the Mississippi and go have some, ice cream or whatever, and then just cruise on back to Rochester. Well, I went to get going. I rinsed off the truck quick, and I was in a hurry, and I just popped the hood open, figured, well, I'll just give it a quick bath. And as soon as I opened the hood, it just died. Absolutely stone cold dead, no spark.
Yep.
Well,
didn't that happen just before last week's live? Because we were in here, talking about the different possibilities and stuff on it.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I actually ended up on that Monday. We ended up trying to diagnose this thing over the phone because I had already hit a wall, and even with all my experience, I had hit a wall, and so I needed to bring in a second opinion, call a different doctor, so to speak, and I replaced the power. Well, Jamie figured it was because the ballast resistor was fine. I was starting to blame wiring problems, but we just started breaking down and doing testing, and so I ended up actually going and buying another control box, and thought would plug and play. They're fairly inexpensive, so I tried that, and that made no change at all. Jamie said to go and do check the coil and isolate the coil and do a coil test. And why don't you explain to people how that actually works so everybody can do that?
Yeah. So basically, and I'm not entirely sure how you did it. I'm still a little curious on that. But the way I do it is, I might have even steered you wrong, because I might have told you to just unplug the box and that should work. But what you need to do is take the connections off of your negative side of your coil. If we had done that, it would have eliminated your problem. We'll get to that in a minute. But basically, with power to your coil and nothing connected to the negative side of your coil, you want your coil wire off of the distributor cap, sitting next to ground, regular spark check, so you can see if there are sparks happening. And you take a wire, again, with everything off your negative side of your coil, you take a wire, you touch it to ground, and you touch it to negative coil. Every time you touch it and take it off, you should see a spark out of your coil wire sitting next to ground there. You should get a spark every time. And your little wire, you should get a bzz, or a little bit of, fireworks, at least a little zap. And that'll tell you, yep, coil is doing its thing. If you have a points vehicle, you can almost do exactly the same thing just by opening and closing the points, as long as they're parked in a closed position. But this is something I explained in my Chrysler ignition system video. When you do that with a ground wire, grounding out the negative side of the coil, you're doing exactly the same thing a set of points does, or the electronic box does. It just grounds your coil and ungrounds it. Every time it makes a spark, that is what it's doing. So by doing that with a jumper wire, that's what you're doing. You're just replicating that, and you should get a spark if things are normal. But
if you do this, make sure you disconnect your box, because you could get a backfeed into your box and blow your box.
If you have electronic ignition, again, in that video, which I feel like a lot of people here probably saw forever ago, but what the electronic ignition does is it actually grounds the coil out when you key on. So then when you key off, it releases that ground and you get a spark. I call that a test spark. You can put key on, key off. You can have an assistant do that and check for a spark. You should get a spark every time you turn it back off. Well, the problem is when the key is on, if that is grounded out, you're not going to get a spark if you try to ground it out yourself. And that is why you have to unplug the wire from your box. Same with your points. So that's why you take the connection off the negative coil. Otherwise, you're going to get a false negative, which is what happened with us. And again, I think I told you just unplug the box, and that in your case wouldn't have given you the right answer for a very weird reason.
Well, to explain further off of this too, that I have a Sun Super Tac 2. It's old school, but they were pretty good tacs back in the day. They're not very good at past 4,000 RPM. They're really inaccurate, but they did what the cheap store-bought tac did back then. They're not an autometer tac by any means, but so there was when the guy hooked this all up, who previously owned this truck, he cut the wires and went and got some household twist thingy, that you hook your wires together for your outlet at home.
The classic wire nut.
The classic wire nut. And then he twisted those wires together. Well, so I had some concerns about this after going through all of this and spending about 3 or 4 hours and doing that, trying to diagnose it. And before I was all said and done, I was frustrated, and I had over 4 hours in this thing, and I was ripping my hair out and calling Jamie up going like, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
And then as a bit, because I was changing coils, and it was the same thing. All the coils that I put in it were dead. Mm-hmm. And how could I have 4 or 5 dead coils? That's not cool. Right. So I took the wire nut off, and I figured, well, I'm just going to fix this while I wait. took the wire nut off, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try this. I took the wire nut off, isolated the tachometer away from it. Sure enough, spark comes back. Now,
Fire right up.
what was happening after the fact, what was happening here was the coil had dead shorted inside the tack, or the tack had dead shorted, but it was still functioning right up until the time it wasn't.
Right.
And then it went full dead short and shut the whole ignition system down.
Yep.
So I've never had this happen before. Jamie said he's had this happen with a cheaper off-brand tack at, I believe, either your shop or Rocket. I forget.
Well, yeah, actually, Tom's 68 Charger. When we revived it, it had this old school tack. It still has it. It's still in there. This tack was in there, and it worked when we first started it. It didn't read right, but it moved. It kind of did its thing. And then I think, we were done with it that day. It might have been we'd messed with it a couple times. Excuse me. I put a new engine harness in that car, and I think it was that day went to start it. I can't remember clearly. This was a year ago, but it was fine. It worked. It was funky, but it did run. And then one day it just would not start. And Evan and I were scratching our heads like, what the hell? It's fine. It's got an electronic conversion. It was perfectly fine when we parked it in here, and all of a sudden, no spark. We tested a different coil. We found a burn spot on the coil wire, so we were like, okay, maybe this is it. We changed the coil wire. No change. And then for whatever reason, same thing. We were just like, could it be the tack? Because there's no spark signal, and there's no test spark. There's no nothing. Or maybe there was, but there was no trigger. And we may have even done the other trick I told you to do, which is plug in a different distributor and spin it and just see if that works.
Yeah, that was one of them I tried.
Yep. Oh, you tried everything. We went through all this, and I was scratching my head, same as you. And the thing is, again, I had seen this once. It wasn't something I thought of, but yeah, a tack that fails internally can short out the coil ground. That's exactly what it'll do. And as I mentioned, what any of these ignition systems are doing are grounding out and ungrounding the negative side of the coil. If the tack holds it grounded, you don't get a spark. Doesn't work. So I saw it one time. It was on that car. I don't know what made us think of this. It might have been we were changing the coil, and then we just left it off just for simplicity, and it started. And then we got to thinking about it. I don't know, but somehow we realized it is the tack. It will not start with the tack connected. Weirdly, on that Charger, you can start it and then connect the tack, and the tack will still be wiggling and kind of doing its thing, but it will not start that way. How weird is that?
Well, okay, so you and I already had a powwow earlier today about this whole situation too, and I believe that tack would work again. But that tack is drawing so much voltage away from the motor that it might still continue to run. Now, after the hell was that?
Fireworks?
Okay. I heard it over here.
Yeah.
Are the neighbors shooting at you or what?
I think we're good, but I'm up in the turret, so I'm in a defensible position.
Good. Make sure you get the 50 cal out. Anyway, the tack was drawing so much voltage away from the system. Once I isolated it and got it away from there, that motor turned into a freaking animal.
You said it runs like it's never run.
Oh, it was fast before, but now it's just stupid. Yeah. For a small block, I'm a big block guy, right? So
I understand.
What that thing is a runaway spaceship now. It just really goes.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm quite positive that it would run 13 flat easy.
Wow. Yeah.
And that
thing's been partially bad for like years.
Right. And it had been sucking voltage away. And here's another ironic thing that I found too, is now my transmission, because the motor's making more power, my transmission's working better, my shift points are higher. And because it's the governor pressure is being raised up and everything else, it got crisper shifts. It just everything is working so much better on that truck.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that interesting?
While I was driving it today, and I was going like, because today was the real long drive test, I had to run everywhere with it, and of course I got a hold of you after that, and I'm almost going like, well, do I really want to pull this motor out of here or just leave it? But I really want to stick that 800 horse 440 in there and turn it into the poor man's drag truck, because I just know that thing's going to run 10 flat and it's going to be a hoot.
They don't weigh anything. It's just traction you got to deal with, and
Well,
I'm sure you have some plans for that.
So I mean, to alter to the back end, you don't need to change the springs. Right. You just take and get a B body rear end, which is 4 inches narrower. You throw that on top of the springs instead of underneath the springs.
Yep.
For your weight transfer, and then so your back end's pretty much done except for your wheelhouses. And any Dodge truck all the way in up to 1989 is the same bed floor as the 79. The wheelhouses are the same. So you just go
the same till 93. I mean, they changed trim and stuff on the truck, but I think
you're correct. All the way to 93. All the way to 93, the bed floor and the wheelhouse, inner wheelhouses are the same. So you just take the inner wheelhouse out, cut the frame back, cut the bed back to the frame rail, and then you can go all the way over, and you can run 14-inch slicks underneath the back end of that thing, nice and neat and tidy under, inside the wheelhouse.
So those are a symmetrical leaf spring, unlike the cars, and you always get horrible wheel hop. So what are you going to do for that? Clamp the hell out of it? Slapper bars? Caltrax?
I think slapper bars would be a big mistake because there's way too much arch there. I'm going to build a frame, cross member frame connector, and go with a very odd looking
humongous snubber,
third, the pinion snubber, and I'm going to go with that. I don't believe that will be a wheelie bar issue. If it comes down to it, I will make custom U-bolt clamps on the front of the springs to get rid of that rear end wrap up.
You definitely want to clamp up.
What I will do is equal to what they did for the super stock springs. Put more clamps on
all the clamps at the front
side.
Oh, you need to do that. I already know that for sure. I wonder if that'll be enough, just clamping the shit out of those springs. We're so lucky in Mopar world to have the asymmetrical leaf with that short section at the front. It's already basically a traction bar. You do the same thing with the clamps. My Demon has done that way, and it works very well.
The biggest thing is if you were to get such a wicked wheel hop, you could rip that rear stirrup out. In a truck, it's like a reversed shackle, and it fits into a stirrup, and you can literally rip the stirrup rip the rivets right off the frame if you were to get, But most of the guys that have built these trucks in this fashion, they really don't have any problems with them. It just squats, and the biggest problem they seem to be having because of the full frame is when it lifts. It freaking lifts, and the front tires go in the air, and the horizon goes away, and it's one of them. Boy.
I actually have experienced drag racing a Dodge truck, which is silly because I've told you my experience, which is very little. I've done a little street stuff, and they used to run renegade drags at the 8th mile at the Elma Airport, about 20 miles away, and I owned a 70 D100 short bed, lowered. I think it was axle flip, but I actually can't remember now how he did it. If it was a flip or if it was a long shackle. I think it was a flip. And it must have been a drop axle in the front. Must have been, because they're leaf spring in the front. But that son of a bitch wheel hopped like you wouldn't believe. I couldn't do a burnout. I couldn't launch it hard. I had to baby it out of the hole. And that was my introduction to the Dodge truck rear suspension in a drag racing application. And that was street tires and barely prepped surface. We're not talking solid traction. We're talking, basically a street race. And I couldn't believe how bad it was. So it just happens to be one little thing I do have experience with. I know it can be a problem.
Well, we'll see what happens, because I've got, trans brake and the shutter box and everything, with the MSD setup, with the 440. And so there's going to be some trial and error and that sort of stuff, but I'll pretty much do all the test and tune locally. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
just do it locally,
Cool.
and I'll kind of get used to the thing, because also with the small block front springs, those are coils, and so I'm gonna be doing some things with the shocks too, so that when the front end does come down, it comes down gradually.
I assume you'll do like an 80-20 or something similar to that.
Well,
It droops,
yeah.
but it comes down slow. Yeah.
I'm still kind of stuck with the idea that 90-10s is the way to go because of the physical weight.
Right.
Okay. I'd rather have it go up and shoot for the sky, but when it comes back down, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the track guys get really bummed at you when you spill your oil pan all over the track. So
yeah. Now you've done plenty of drag racing with torsion bars. Have you ever run with drilled shocks, or did you always run like a 90-10 kind of thing?
I always ran either. I was really fond of Gabriel shocks back in the day, because you could just buy the the stock shocks for the front of a B body, and they just seemed to really work right out of the box. And then they came out with these fancy things called gas shocks, and ever since that time, it's like, oh hell, screw this, But when we first started racing, the technology wasn't there for the cars. It was pretty Stone Age. You kind of ran by the seat of your pants, and what worked for one guy might not work for the next guy. But there was such a camaraderie in racing back then that you kind of all got together and talked about things, and it was really great. Like I said, I've told you this several times, that I may not have been the biggest, baddest dude out there, but my relationships with people like Ronnie Sox, and I can't say enough about that. I wouldn't have been able to get anywhere without him, but all the rest of the guys that I got a chance to meet, they were all just a great bunch of guys, and that camaraderie with the racers was worth the price of admission. I wouldn't change a thing. There was a few guys out there that were kind of snippy, but they were all about winning, and they didn't care about. They lost well, I'll tell you what. One of the things that Ronnie Sox told me, he said, whatever you do, get out there and have fun. Mm-hmm. He said, just go out there and have fun. And he said, go out there and run your number. Don't worry about the guy next to you. Don't even worry about that. This is bracket racing. You're not racing a guy next to you anymore. Head-to-head racing, that's a thing of the past.
You're racing yourself.
You're racing yourself. Just go out there and forget about the guy next to you. Who cares? Unless he's in your lane, then you get to worry about him a little bit. If he's coming over and he's going to have a close encounter of a different kind, then you got to think about it. Then you got to think about, where in the hell am I going to go to get away from him? And but for the most part, when you go out and race today, your dial-in is the magic number that you need to achieve. Mm-hmm. So however you choose to do that, if you take down the tree, with a 055 light or better, or my kid, he was always 005, 007 lights. He just absolutely crushed that tree. Wow. And he was really good, and he did get a perfect light. Oh, Mopar Joe just scored another perfect light too the other day. Wow. A couple weeks back, he just nailed another perfect light, and I gave him a bunch of crap about that, because he's got several. He's very good on a tree.
Wow.
And
don't aspire to ever do that.
Well, it like I've told you, it takes seat time, and you're busy doing, taking care of the family, paying the bills, and
and the closest track is 2 hours. I'm 4 hours round trip driving just to run up to the closest drag strip to run the car. And especially when you get there and they're having problems, and you get 2 rounds in and they're both a throwaway because the car is pissed off about its conditions. You know, it's not really worth a lot. So I'd love to do more of it, but damn it, when do I have time for that?
The best thing you can do, or any of the guys out there on that are watching, the best thing you can do is go to all the swap meets. Sooner or later, you're going to stumble across a thing called a porta tree. This is a portable tree. You set it right up in your living room. You're surely going to piss off your wife. And you set it right up in your living room, and you sit in your lazy chair, and you got your thumb on that deal, and you practice.
Right.
You know, getting your reaction time down, you know, because you're already got your line lock set up, you know, and this is basically the release of either your line lock, or it's going to be a release of your trans brake. And so the only thing is your right foot has two jobs. One, to hold 2,500 to 3,000 RPM on the tack, and your thumb does all the work. When I started racing, we were running 4-speeds. And so we come up there and my
left foot has to do all the work.
Well, exactly. We'd come up there and pray to God that the shaking of the car didn't get us out of the beams or didn't deep stage us.
Right.
You know,
I don't even have a brake right now. My brake button is broken. It's hooked to a 2-step too, and they told me I couldn't use it, or it wouldn't be class legal for the class I was in, even though it was just test and tune. I was like, okay, I'm not going to touch that button. I have never launched with the brake held. I need to do that. Never done it.
Oh, pedaling it? You've never done that?
That's no. With I don't have a button. My line lock isn't, the button broke, so I've never used the line lock. I've never.
You don't need that.
No, I don't.
You know, I mean, if you're just sitting there,
as long
if you're sitting there and you're in the lights and you're in the beams, rev it up. As
long as it's not downhill.
Well, that part would really suck, but then you deep stage, and then the guy next to you would get all mad like he's running. Now, this is the other thing that was educated to me too by my mentors in racing. was if you deep staged, that doesn't mean anything. That's just your stuff. Okay. And they talk about all that stuff, and they talk about burning some guys down, you know, because they take too long to get staged, and that's all just politics. And
mind games.
It's just a game. And so, but if you deep stage, that means nothing to the guy next to you. You're still running your number. That's it. You know, you're racing, you're testing your own skills, you're racing yourself. Forget about the guy next to you. Who cares what he says, what he does? You know, I mean, just go out there and go have fun and
I've told you, you know, that's all I ever want out of it. I want to have a good time. I want to see what I'm capable of. Almost more importantly, I want to take the demon out and stretch its legs and just like poke it with a stick and be like, hey, this is what you're made to do. You know, I'm going to do it with 3 pedals. I'm never going to be the fastest guy out there, but you know, if I can beat my last time, I'm going to be happy. And I want to go back to something else you said too, you know, the camaraderie out there. I've only been to the track a couple times, but every single guy I have met out there, every single person I have met out there doing it, it's just cool. They're doing the same thing. If you need anything, they're right there. They're watching your stuff. They're watching your back. They're happy to tell you what they're doing, what their program is, what you can do differently. You know, I've never had any of that. You know, my shit doesn't stink attitude. I have not met anyone at a drag strip that's doing that. I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't.
I ran into a track owner in Wisconsin that was Mr. Snob, and he made about 150 enemies. You know, I mean, over the period of time that he owned the track, and there's just guys like that. But I mean, my only time, if I think back, I have to think back to when I was 16 and my very first experience with racing in Minneapolis at a place called Minnesota Dragways. And I was terrified. I didn't know what I was doing. I had my 65 Dodge up there with a Poly 318, and it was not a fast car, but I was trying to learn. I wanted to go do it. I wanted to see what the car would do because I thought it was pretty fast on the street. You know, I didn't know how to react to a tree. You know, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no help, no supervision, flying by the seat of my pants, paid the entrance fee, got in there, and oh God, the light turned green. I guess I can go. You know, I mean, it was that
So
horrible.
a Jamie
you know?
reaction then.
No, I was still faster.
Oh, okay.
But I came back after my first round, and a guy laid into me really bad to the point where he almost literally brought me to tears because I was just a skinny little dumbass farm boy. I didn't know squat. And I was absolutely terrified. And he's a big old dude, and he just ripped into me. You don't even know what you're doing out there. You shouldn't be on there. Kind of like some of your trolls you get,
Yeah.
you know. And
I know. I
so
told you that. Yeah.
I got mega trolled by this ogre, and I was just terrified, and I was going to throw in the towel. And this guy walks over to me, and he said, "Don't listen to that guy." He says, "You've got to get used to this Christmas tree. Watch other racers." Right. He was super, super, super nice, and he was there, basically talking to the heavy hitter racers that were practicing that day. And I had no idea who he was. And so anyway, he just introduced himself as Tom, you know, and my name's Tom. He shook my hand. He was very polite, and he walked away. And so I went and I made another pass. I think I got 3 passes in that day. I made another pass. I got a little bit better, and then this ogre dude comes back over to me, and I thought, oh God, here we go again. This is after my second pass, you know, and at this point, I didn't know if I should jump on the roof of my car and run or what, you know. And he comes over to me, goes, "Well, anybody who's a friend of Tom's is a friend, you know, is a friend of mine." I'm going like, "Well, you weren't very nice to me." And he goes, "I'm really sorry for that." And I saw the guy that I was talking to, this Tom guy. I watched him walk over to this dude, and he basically ripped this dude a new ass. You know, I didn't hear the conversation, but when you're getting your finger pointed at you, and it's this, you know that there's words being said. Wow. And it was so loud at the track anyway, and, you know, cars running everywhere, drag cars running down the track. And of course, I didn't really pay much attention to things. So about 10 years later, I'm telling this story to a really good friend of mine, and he rips open a magazine. He goes, "Was it this guy?"
This guy?
And yeah, was it this guy? And I go, "Yeah, that's him." He goes, "Dumbass, that's Tom Hoover." I'm going like,
wow.
Oh, the father of the Hemi. You know what I mean? And here I am. I'm just like, I had no clue who he was, but I will say he was just an incredibly nice guy. He was very, basically from what we pieced together is he was basically there because of the Chrysler sponsored guys that were racing, you know, and he was there helping them. And it was a very chance meeting because it's not something he normally did.
Right.
He was only there to entertain this Chrysler sponsored guys that were still racing. And so there was a bunch of Top Fuel stuff going on there and all kinds of stuff. And nevertheless, it was that kindness that I would have probably quit.
Right.
Because of getting my head bit off by that dude. But it was that act of kindness that I knew that there was good people out there, and I kept coming back, and then, you know, you know, I don't know, $500,000 later, here we are.
Yeah. And on that terrible disappointment.
I've been doing this crap. I'm 63 years old, and I've been doing this my whole entire life since I was 16 years old, you know, and I won't change. I'm not gonna quit doing it as long as I'm, you know, healthy enough and viable, so I'm not a threat to, you know, medical threat down the track.
Yeah. I don't care who trolls me. You know, none of that is going to make me go, oh, I should just stop because I'm bad. I don't give half a shit if I'm bad. I said I was bad. You know, I just made the poor mistake of taking video of my runs and putting it on the internet, you know, for people's entertainment. And that's all it is. It's not I'm a great drag racer, or I'm even good at this. You know, it's just, this is what I'm doing. And if it inspires anyone else to get out there and do it and just try it, you know, or if I can show anyone else just how great it is being out there and how awesome it is being around other people doing the same thing, you know, it's like going through a time machine. You're going back to the 70s. It's the same thing that's going on. And I just love that. So that's what I'm in it for. You know,
I
fun.
don't know. One of my friends said, you don't get trolled on the internet because of the way you look. And I'm going like, well, what's that supposed to mean? He goes, well, it looks like you look like a biker that just soon rips somebody else's head off. And I'm going like, oh, great. You know,
Nice.
and no, I told him I'm a cowboy. I belong on a TV sitcom, you know, like Yellowstone or something like that. Put me on a horse, I'd be a hell of a lot happier anyway.
I'm sure. Horse or tractor, your pick. We've got somewhere between 3 and 10 minutes left, just depending on how you slice it. And we did have a bunch more comments come in. I'm going to rattle through a bunch of them. If you somehow missed this, I don't know how you would have, but that's Rooster with Rooster's Restos. You should check out his channel where he is giving out life lessons, experience, and fun times in some of the things
everybody
he's doing.
Wants me. You mentioned this, and Donnie's mentioned it now, and a couple other guys from your channel have mentioned it. They want me to go into story time, like the story I just told. You know, my first
You've
time.
got a lot of them. I'm telling you. You know,
but
story time with Rooster.
People have some feedback along that line, you know, you want to chime in, you know, please do in the, you know, in the comment section down here, you know, so Jamie can read that. I mean, if people would like to hear some of the stories of, you know, all these years of, you know, going to the track and, you know, different experiences, different tracks, you know, it's all fun. I mean, my son grew up from the time he's 13, he was racing junior dragsters as well. So, I mean, yeah, it was a family gig.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, you know, just to me, you've been there, you've done that, and people want that. And I just think you've got the voice for it. That I was watching that Cornet video in the beginning of it, I was just like, someone's telling me a story. Someone's reading me a book right now, you know. And honestly, it's a big part of what I do. This is storytelling with cars. You know, it's story time with cars. You listen to my show, and that's really what it is. I don't necessarily say everything I mean to. I don't necessarily give every detail of what I'm doing. It's story time. It's entertainment. And I just think you, with the experience you have and your voice, you just have an opportunity for that. So that's, I heard you talking in that video. Well, that was my vision right there.
Yeah, you made the comment about that too, because a long time ago, because my mom owned a Top Fuel funny car, you know, and it was just too bad she didn't get to actually really get to do what she wanted to do with her eyesight problems. But she was a freaking hot rodder and a half. I mean, there's stories that I heard about my mom after she passed away from one of the local gals in town. She goes, your mother was hell on wheels. I'm going like, I wonder where I inherited that from. And I wonder why my dad was so adamant about not wanting me to do this. But apple does not fall far from the tree.
No, it doesn't. So you got to save this for story time with Rooster. I'm going to try really hard to bang through the comments we have, and then we'll get out of here. But, you know, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I think we've probably spent at least a day of our lives, if not more at this point, talking on the phone. You've got so much to share, and it's really hard to you know, condense it and get any great measure of it in 2 hours, but we tried. And I appreciate you doing that. Donnie had to get going soon, like half an hour ago, so he's either gone or not gone, knowing Donnie. Jolly Rancher said, I'm here because of Uncle Tony. Slant 6 build-off would make great content. Hint, 3 side draft Webers. Ask Uncle Tony how he feels about those side draft Webers on a Slant 6. That Australian video, I don't think it's really a good idea. I'm going turbo because I like to party, it's totally out of character. It's nothing like anything I have ever done. I've had a little experience with turbo Subarus, and I like the theory, but I want to do it with a Slant 6, so that's the plan. JP was talking about
turbo off my comments too.
Yeah, I bought Rooster's Cummins turbo, used Cummins turbo, and that is what's going on the Slant 6. So look forward to that. It's so wrong and yet so right. JP was talking about the blue one, so I did fill you in on that. JMR says, Jay Leno, yeah, he just did a video on a sweet 68 Dart GTS 383 4-speed. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was an amazing one. I saw that.
Love that car. Love it. You know, it's my demon, but just a little bit of extra big block. Donnie said, I'm back. I forgot my Blazing Saddles DVD. Does anybody have a dime? Somebody's going to have to come back and get a shitload of dimes.
That man is so hilarious to talk to. I mean, oh my God, him and I, we get together and we're like the captain of the one-liners, you know, one back and forth. It's just hilarious banter. I mean, if we had to do it on a live show, we could never get it right. But just talking back and forth, we're both losing it.
Yeah. Man, it's so funny. We talk all the time, and yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, the man bought me a goddamn corn dog necklace. Who does that?
Donnie.
Yeah. Bob's in North Georgia. Belle James is in Washington, but lives in Oklahoma. Crash's Roadrunner Garage is also in Minnesota. Johnny Mopar dropped in and said, "What's up, everyone? Just got here."
He's not far from me either. That guy, he's not very far from me, and he's working on a really nice car. It was supposed to be out by now, but yeah, I mean, I know how that goes.
Dude,
you know?
Don't we all? Johnny Mopar says California's represented, but I'm in Utah at the moment, so I guess we got Utah. Walter G says, if there's a 79 Chrysler diecast, I'll find it. Will you let me know? Bulldog says, still have the Demon, Jamie? Yes, and I'll probably be buried in it. I love that car. That's what I was just talking about drag racing in. I call it Dale's Demon, which apparently occasionally confuses people. Someone thought my name was Dale. So that's why I've said on video like 3 times recently, this is Dale's Demon. I'm not Dale, I'm Jamie. For one commenter that never saw my responses saying, dude, I'm Jamie. Anyway. Twisted Mopar Garage says, hello, everyone. Just got home from the drag strip. Nice. Car ran awesome. Driver needs to
He's
get
got
better.
some cool stuff. I've seen his channel. He's got some cool stuff.
Nice. Driver needs to get better. Yeah, so story of my life. Music Tony is also in northern Arizona and says it's 90 degrees there. No, thank you. Cave Dave says you helped him out once and he really does appreciate it. Now I need a Hemi hood scoop for a 65 Plymouth.
Have one.
I'm sure you
Wait a
do.
minute. No, okay. Not that one. I have a Dart one, I guess, in stock, but I can get one.
There you go. My friend Kimmy Trails is in Olympia and says, I nearly broke my neck last week when I saw a black Coronet 500 rolling through town on a car hauler. I should have known it would be featured on a Dead Dodge Garage video only a few days later. Nice.
We didn't even get to talk about that cool little archive piece too.
Time. Well, I mentioned it, but yeah, we just don't have time. Bulk Schultz says, what's your favorite Mopar engine to work on? I kind of mentioned this already. Small block. LA small block. I just love them. They're my happy place. They're not the biggest. They're not the bestest. They're not 800 horsepower. It's just where I'm happy.
Big block.
Yeah.
See, that's what makes us a perfect friends, because he likes the small blocks. I like the big blocks, and we both love Hemis.
When I have questions about blowing a 440, I know who to call. Oh, no. Kimmy Trails sold the 75 D300 dually, which I never even got to see, but turned it into a very nice 68 Chrysler Newport 2-door fast top with a 383. One owner car with 68,000 OG miles. That was the old in with the Newport. All right, that ain't so bad. That ain't so bad. Bulk Schultz says, what's the easiest way to know what kind of transmission you have? Is there an imprint somewhere? Yes, but the easiest way is automatic. I'm sure we're talking automatic. 904, the pan is just kind of a square, but with a corner cut off. 727 under the dipstick, and I'm going to get the side wrong because my camera's flipped, but under the dipstick, there's a kick out on a 727 only. 904 does not have that. Eric Tate says, wow, but I'm not sure what to.
My incoherent babbling of a lunatic mind. Wait a minute. No, that was a Led Zeppelin song.
Was it really? Well, it also describes this whole night pretty well. Dan says there is a visual ID. Yeah, you can go find that if you want, but it's basically what I just said. Joe Stevens says, just getting back from the Woodburn Mopar Nationals. Did you make it down there? No, but I had a friend down there. He said there weren't as many vendors as he was hoping for, and he didn't find anything I needed. I gave him a short list. Oh, cool. Bulk Schultz says, I'm a mail carrier teaching myself how to work on my own truck. Apologies for the stupid questions. Bulk, there's no such thing as a stupid question. I would never say that. I'm happy to answer questions for people that don't know. I don't know everything. I don't even know if I know a lot, but I do know a good few things, especially about these Mopar cars and trucks, and I am here to share with you. So Happy to help you learn. I have tons and tons of videos on electrical systems, Mopar ignitions, small block engines, Magnum engines. I've got a lot of that kind of stuff. And it is supposed to be geared towards people that know a bit, but are learning. And as far as being a mail carrier, I spend a lot of my time working on LLV mail trucks. So that's kind of fun.
LLV, limited or long life vehicle.
Life vehicle. And they are living long lives. Eric Tate says it's really funny working on hot rods. It's fun. It's infuriating, but we just keep doing it anyway. Yep.
We all do it for the wow factor.
Yep. Crash said the same thing. There are no stupid questions. There are stupid answers. I see them all the time on the Mopar groups. If you guys have ever seen me on the Mopar groups, I'm there giving the best knowledge that I have, which again, I'm not saying it's 100% or that I'm the smartest out there, but I know a lot, especially on the electrical systems. And I just see so much stupid, wrong information. That is the main inspiration behind the guide videos that I do, because I want to help people understand these electrical systems. It's voodoo to some people, and it's really not that complicated, but you get this crosstalk of people that just don't know what they're talking about. And it just makes everything harder for everybody. So if you ever see me in one of the Mopar groups, I'm either answering electrical questions or I'm telling off people that are passing bad information, because it's just ridiculous. Rant over.
Yeah, well, let's just put it this way. Uncle Tony doesn't know half as much as he thinks he does.
He knows a lot. I've gotten a lot of
he is a encyclopedia about Mopar bodies, builds, and fender tags, and I mean that side of it, because he was a magazine editor as well. I mean, he really got that stuff down, but I disagree with a lot of the other stuff that he talks about.
And I do.
That is his way of doing things, and that's fine. Everybody's got their own way of doing stuff.
And everybody, this is my thing. And again, I think it's my strength. I don't know. It was my strength as a leader. Not that I was a great one, running a business and everything, but everyone has something. Everyone that you meet knows something that you don't. And the way to do it my way of doing it is to shut up and listen to who knows. And find those people that know and take their information, steal their information.
Here it is, right here in a nutshell, right here from Dan Tupper. Everyone started somewhere. Okay. He is just spot on with that. And you know what? Experience is the best teacher. And this is where I got my stuff, but I had a lot of help along the way. I've already talked about Ronnie Socks, but there's a countless other guys that helped me get to where I needed to be. And same thing goes for you. And I'm sure any of these guys like Dan or Donnie or any of these guys, we listen to other people because somebody's been through what we're going through at the moment.
Find those people. That is the trick. Find those people. I'm here on YouTube trying to be one of those people to pass on the knowledge that I have, but I've only been doing this 16 years and I learn something new every single day. I see a new failure every single day. On that cornet I revived the other day, the failure was a jumper wire. Like, that's something new I've never seen before. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're doing this, you should be doing it, and not you, anyone should be doing it from the perspective of, what am I going to learn today? Tack failure killed spark on my truck. That's a great one.
Our motto in drag racing was go build it, go out and break it.
Right. Learn a lesson and then go out again. My friend Kimmy Trails, who commented there about turning his truck into a Chrysler, sent a picture of said Chrysler. How sweet is that?
Oh my God, that is pretty.
Yep. Oh, and Donnie says the day you quit learning something as a mechanic is the day you fail. Yep, exactly. See, I told you he was still going to be here. Okay, you can take my phone. We got to get going, folks. I'm very near to the end of the comments. Again, we're down to 44 people at 2 hours and 10 minutes. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out every week. It is the best. I look forward to this every week. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Eric Tate says this is awesome knowledge. Awesome. Again, that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn and we're here to share. Everyone you meet just has a little nugget of information that you need. take that nugget, humbly listen to people that are older that have done it or that are younger but have done it. Take that information anywhere you can get it.
You see with that older comment there, Sonny boy.
Yeah. Listen, my beard when I had it was still brown, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, I kind of surpassed that 20 years ago.
YT Viewer says, one of my favorite coaching points for my players is this: you can only compete against yourself. You improving your previous best is everything. You will compete with, not against, with everyone else. And yeah, that's exactly it.
Very wise words there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very wise.
That's the game. We're all playing against ourselves. That's it.
What did I say earlier about drag racing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You're racing yourself. Forget about the guy next to you. Don't worry about it. Just go out there and have fun.
Run your run. Play it your way. Bulk says, keep on keeping on, Rooster. Trolls can make you a better person sometimes. And they can literally make you money by commenting and watching your video. So there's this guy who I don't even want to mention, who is the #1 critic on, I'm assuming, every semi-popular Mopar YouTube. He's on Uncle Tony's for sure. He's just a moron. Anyway, and all I have to say is he makes me money by watching and commenting. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Bell James says, so remember, be kind. And Eric Tate said, yep, that's how we all learn. But yes, be kind. Absolutely. You just can't go into situations thinking you're all that, because you're not. Because every single seasoned racer was that rookie at one time. Everyone has been a newbie, has messed up, has had a hiccup,
Oh, yeah. Totally agree with that. I mean, look at me, 16-year-old kid, terrified, didn't know what I was doing. I mean, and the fact that I'm willing to own it, there's a lot of people aren't willing to own they're
not willing to say I was that moron once, and I say it all the time. I'm still that moron, I'm learning.
John Garlitz got out of diapers and jumped into a swamper at 1. Yeah, sure thing.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
Desert Mopar subscribed to you, and he's looking forward to more content. I know it's in the making. Rooster's got a lot of stuff to do. Oh, Crash subscribed too, so there you go. Bulk says, Turbo Slant 6. Damn, that sounds awesome. I think it does too. Everybody's peacing out because they kind of know what time it is. We'll wrap it up with just a couple things. Rich Jordan said, thanks to both of you. Bulk Schultz says, I've never trashed a truck more than the USPS LLV. Gotta love them. I have allegedly thrown some gravel and made some tire smoke with LLVs. Walter G wants to know, what's in the pipe, Rooster?
I quit smoking cigarettes 25 years ago, and I can't give up tobacco, so then it's probably a good thing for my temperament that I keep smoking. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Jamie knows me all too well.
Eric Tate. Rich Jordan said, thanks to both of us. Great stream. Thanks for being here, Rich. Really appreciate that. Eric Tate also said, of course, it definitely is fun fixing hot rods up. I've been around cars all my life. Awesome. Hot rods or slant sixes, I don't care. It's frustrating. It has its ups and downs, but it's so much more rewarding than so many other things,
Well, I'd like to say thank you to the guys that have subscribed here. And I'd also like to thank everybody that came into Jamie's Dead Dodge Garage Live tonight, just to, enjoy the Sunday evening with us. And I really like to thank each and every one of you guys out there, including Jamie's family members, which that is just, that's familia, man.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's way cool.
Bulldog said he needs a big block tunnel. Oh, needs big block tunnel ram help. Budget price. And apparently Tim from 318 Will Run has the intake I need. All right, I might have to reach out to him. Bulk says my first live stream I've caught. I think I'll be back. Awesome. Well, guys,
if this guy needs to get a hold of me, it's spanbullets@yahoo.com.
Yep.
You know, just
Yep.
go through the boat shop. That's the best way to get a hold of me because I
There
am
you go.
stupid busy all the time.
Word to that. And with that, we've run long already. It's what, 10:15 where you're at? You don't even usually hang out for the whole streams.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I'm still working for that paycheck, you know, that DDG hat. So no,
All right.
the purpose today was to share about the electrical
Right.
malfunction, and so that if someone else all of a sudden their ignition is absolutely stone cold dead,
Yep.
you know, check your TAC lead first.
Well, you know what you could do is make a video on that and put it on your channel. You know, my electrical repair and diagnosis guides, those are the bedrock my channel is built on. They have gotten thousands of views. They've made me money, and they've gotten me tons of the subscribers I have today. So just saying, I won't make that one. You go ahead. That is a good tidbit of knowledge. But again, it's definitely dinner time over here. It's probably snoozy time over there. So we're going to call it a night. Thanks again to everybody for hanging out this long. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much to Rooster for being here. I'm sure we will do this again.
This could be a thing.
It absolutely could be. All right. Good night, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully, I'll see you next week.
Maybe next time both of us will break out the guitars at the end. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, we just don't have time for that. But that could happen. All
But
right,
that
take
was
it
the other
easy.
thing that you and I have in common too is I'm an ex-musician. I have arthritis in my left hand, so it's hard to make chords. But I am an avid lover of acoustical guitar. Played since I was 9, 10. I don't know. Kind of getting a little foggy back then, but a long time.
We could probably do dueling banjos.
Oh,
Might have
hell
to
no.
do your hand exercises.
I'll just play some lead-in Metallica and let you pick it up from there. How about that?
All right, guys. We're out of here. Thank you very much. Take care and have a good week.
Aloha.
Bye-bye now.